Alright, so at this point you should have the PhoneGap application downloaded and running in your computer. Some of you might have been expected that the PhoneGap application will have a command line tool, or it would have a programming tool like MonoDevelop, like Visual Studio. You're not going to write code in PhoneGap. PhoneGap is going to be that connection between an app that you already made or that you're developing in any other tool and the applications that you're going to build in PhoneGap build. So the thing is, for PhoneGap, you already need a game. You already need a working HTML5 project for this to work. Okay, so in PhoneGap, you have to create a project. So if you click on this plus sign here, there are two options: create a new PhoneGap project or open existing PhoneGap project. We want to create a new one. And here's a good tip for you. There are some templates for you to start a PhoneGap project. A very simple Hello World application that has lots of settings already filled in for you. There's a blank project that's the simplest of them, and that's not really recommended right now. There's Framework 7, push notifications. This is really good for you to start working with those. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to configure the plugins for this, but this is going to give you a nice head start, and an augmented reality app as well. Okay, so some of you might think it's a good idea to start with a blank project, but I highly recommend you to start with a Hello World project. And why is that? Whenever you're making an application in Unity, for example, there are settings that allow you to easily upload multiple icons and multiple splash screens. However, whenever you're going to make an application that's simple as an HTML5 project, not many things are already ready for you. Okay, it takes time for you to list all of the available icons in an application and put them in the correct format and put them in the correct sizes. So this is something that takes a lot of work. The good thing about the Hello World is it does almost all the work for you. It's going to come with a lot of the full images, the full icons, the full settings. So it's going to have a configuration file that you can easily look at and just change the things that you want to change for your application. Okay, so we're going to start with the Hello World, and we're going to look at the configuration file. So I'm going to open a projects folder here. This is something highly recommended. Have a projects folder under your home folder, and I'm going to make a new folder here, and I'm going to call this Mr. Hop. Okay, just to make a new folder here. Back in PhoneGap, let's make sure we have Hello World selected. I'm going to click Next, and then it's going to ask us to select the local path for this project. So I'm going to click on Choose, then Project, and then Mr. Hop. Okay, I'm going to click Open, and the display name for my app is going to be Mr. Hop. Okay, properly written like this. Now, the ID is very important for us here, okay? Because since we're talking about building an application, it's important for us to have an ID to be used in stores, okay? And to make sure that the ID that we use here is going to be compatible on all app stores, so that's Android, iOS, and Windows Phone, you should use a reverse domain namespace format, okay? And what's reverse domain? We go from something that's very wide to something that's very specific. So we start with com for a commercial, then dot, in general here, the name of the company or the name of the developer, which could be you, and then dot, the name of the project. So what we could do here is com dot your company dot Mr. Hop. Okay, that's a name that you could use for this project. And once you hit Create Project, PhoneGap is going to get all the files that came with the PhoneGap installation and create the project for you. In the beginning, the Mr. Hop folder is going to be empty, but then you're going to have another Mr. Hop folder, which is the name of your application here. So how do we test PhoneGap? How exactly does this work? PhoneGap is going to have a list of many projects here. If you have one, it's just fine. That's the only one you're going to have. But as you make more projects, all of them are going to be listed here. But the thing is, PhoneGap executes a project by using a local server. Okay, so it's like it's hosted in a web page, but that web page is being executed in your device in your computer in this case, okay, in your Mac or in your Windows. And if you want to see this project being executed like it was in a simulated server, you just have to click here in this link. Okay, this IP might change. It really depends on your computer, but in general, you just click here and it's going to execute whatever project is selected here. Okay, and the one that's selected, the one that's being executed, should be green. Okay, and this is the Hello World application. We just have PhoneGap devices ready and this little image here of this robot at this position. Okay, it's a very simple project, but what we want to do is to get a project that we already made here, something that's already built, a very simple game for us to play, and make it be executed. So to do this, we need to understand how does the PhoneGap project look like. Okay, so if you look at the created folder Mr. Hop, there are some files and folders here. There is config.xml, which we're going to see shortly to understand what's happening here. And we have other folders for hooks, for platforms, okay, the platforms that are going to be used, the plugins, which is very useful for us. We already have lots of plugins added here. And the most important is the www. Okay, so why is this so important? If you look like this, you're going to remember this looks like a website, and it's exactly what's happening under the hood here. We have a website, and PhoneGap is basically executing this website, and that website is under this www folder. Okay, inside that folder we have an index.html file, which is the main point of entry. It's literally the web page, and then we have other folders with different files that need to be used. Okay, so that's why when we enter here we have the Hello World title and we have this set. What we're going to do here is to perform a little surgery. We're going to replace some of these files with the Mr. Hop files, with the project that we already built to be used here. So to do this, we're going to close PhoneGap. Okay, so we're going to quit the application. Okay, the server is going to be shut down. Then you're going to get the Mr. Hop game zip file that should be bundled with this course. We're going to expand it, okay, just extract its contents. It doesn't matter if you're on Windows or on Mac. And we're going to copy these three files, these three items here, assets folder, JS folder, and index.html. Okay, so we're going to copy these three items. Then we go back to our projects folder, Mr. Hop, www. I'm going to paste these three files here, these three items, and I'm going to replace whatever asks to be replaced. Okay, so I'm going to hit apply to all and hit replace. So everything is going to be swapped with the new files that we added here. Okay, we're now going to open PhoneGap again. Okay, and then we're going to have to wait a little bit for PhoneGap to load and load all the files. And once it's loaded, it's going to open Mr. Hop and it's going to load the server. Okay, so as you see here, we already have a game running. We just have our little platform player here. We just click a few times to make it jump, collect a few coins, and survive for as long as we can. Once you die, it's going to be game over. Okay, so you see, it's something very simple, and we already have the game running in the PhoneGap environment. Okay, remember, this is being executed here in this local server. So what you see in this window, in this page here, is a straight simulation of what your application is going to look like once you move it to your Android, to your iOS, or to your Windows Phone device. Okay, so now that we have this project working, in the next video we're going to take a look on the config.xml file, which is something really important for us to understand. Okay, I see you in the next lesson.